categories under which a child can be classified as eligible to receive special education and related services.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but we don't have to
Some of
go through
them.
all 13, but can you tell us some of them?
Yes, some of them. Well, some of them are, one of them is emotionally disturbed. There are kids that are emotionally disturbed.
Okay.
There's a category of traumatic brain injury. There is a category of other health impaired, because some kids may have health issues which are, which are impeding their learning process, which are impeding them being able to go to on a normal schedule with the rest of the kids into a regular school program and follow the regular curriculum. They may need an individualized education program to address those needs. And such, there's other areas as well under which they can be classified depending on what their disability is.
You said the words individualized education program. Is it possible that if there are 2 or more students who have special needs and they're in the same category, that they would, the school district can just put a class together of special needs children, or is it one-on-one? That's the requirement.
Okay. What it is depending on what the needs of the child are, the school district is supposed to create an individualized education program for the child that is going to enable them to receive a free appropriate public education, often referred to as FAPE. A free appropriate public education is supposed to be anything that will enable this child to be educated according to their needs. Some kids will be educated in a classroom with other children that are like them. Some of them may be a little bit more progressive and they will be used as role models. That happens often in the area of a child being classified as autistic, and they will often be in a classroom with other kids that are autistic, and usually there will be a special education teacher and a couple of aides. Some kids will have one-on-one shadows that will help them work and prompt them, with respect to certain tasks.
Right.
Other kids' disabilities will allow them to be in the mainstream classrooms, maybe for certain subject matters or all subject matters. Some of them will have a shadow again, some of them won't. It depends on a case-by-case basis what the child's makeup is and what they need in order to be educated.
Tell us, what is a shadow?
A shadow it's called a one-on-one aide or a shadow. Those are the terms of art within this area. It's a person that usually is assigned to be with the child throughout the school day in order for them to be able to become educated. Now that means some kids may need help getting around. For example, one of the situations that I dealt with, it was a young child that was very fragile. She had infantile osteoporosis. Her bones were very fragile, so her parents had requested for the school district. She had other health issues, but with her case, the parents had requested that the school district provide her with a one-on-one aid because they were worried about her maneuvering within the hallways. If other kids bump into her, or she could fall and she could, damage her bones, or she could get hurt. So she was provided with a one-on-one aid for that purpose. Some kids may need a one-on-one aid because they don't have fine motor skills that are developed. They can't write, or they can't do something else. So their one-on-one aid will be there to assist them in taking notes, or as a scribe, or do, for example, that for them. Some kids may need shadows because of other disabilities where maybe they can't use their body at all. However, they may be in the wheelchair, or they may not be able to use their hands to complete tasks throughout the school day, and they will need somebody there to assist them in doing various tasks, that are necessary for them to move throughout the day. And it's wonderful because once school districts provide that type of a person to kids that find it necessary, it allows them to become educated. It can also happen with a child who has possibly a severe seizure disorder, and for their safety they may need a shadow because, God forbid, the child starts experiencing a seizure or something else. Their safety may be in jeopardy, so that person who is there with them all the time throughout the day is responsible for making sure that they're physically safe.
We were starting this conversation by talking about some of the 13 categories, and we got off on a tangent because it was important, and there's just so much that we could talk about, right? This is a very rich area of law.
Absolutely.
There's lots of different factors that come into play.
Many.
But let's get back to the list of 13. I think you had mentioned that severe brain trauma, emotional disturbance, other health issues. What are some others?
Autism is another area. and within that area, you know, there's a lot of work that can be done with kids that are autistic. That's, you know, those are some
Those
of
are
the
some of the
13.
primary ones. Now,
Yeah.
you had shared with me off camera a troubling statistic that New Jersey has the highest rate of autistic children in the nation.
Yes.
Is that right?
One of the highest.
One of
and,
the highest.
And the reason for that is because I think New Jersey is considered an area where, for some reason, there's a significant number of professionals that are in the state that work with the disabled children, as well as numerous schools for special education schools that offer an education to kids who cannot be educated in the regular school environment. And one important thing that I need to note for you, Dan, and for your viewers is also the fact that under the IDEA, there is a responsibility to educate kids with special needs in the least restrictive environment. And the IDEA considers a regular school environment to be the least restrictive environment. However, there are kids that cannot be offered an appropriate education in a regular school setting. For example, as with emotional disturbance, you know, some kids may not be able to maneuver within a regular school, especially when they reach a high school age. They have certain things that they cannot deal with in a regular school environment. So they need to go to a high school that's more therapeutic. And there are high schools in New Jersey that are like that. So what happens is often parents who find themselves with a child that has special needs that cannot be educated in a least restrictive environment or a regular school, public school setting, they have to have their child attend a more appropriate school setting, which may be, for example, one of these more therapeutic high schools. And if parents live in other states where there are no therapeutic high schools, they may have to kind of ship their child out of state to go to this particular environment or this particular school. So often people that live in various states of this country choose to move to the state of New Jersey because there are schools here and they want to be next to their kids. You know, they don't want to ship their kids to a private school that's out of their state where they won't be able to have a daily access to their child. And
it's a positive spin on the statistics that say we are on the top. It's not to say that we have clusters of autistic children because of some environmental pollutant or some degradation of the water supply or food supply or anything like that. It's
probably an element of those things as well.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of
controversies.
There's a lot of controversies in this area. Nobody really knows. You know, people say environmental, people say diet, people say a lot of different things. But I think that, yes, to answer your question, I think that there is an explanation to some of this, and there is a percentage of why there's such a high level of